Right. Hello and welcome everyone to this week on Magnet Marketers. I'm your host, Jessika Phillips, and Mike Gingerich here. Jessika with Now Marketing Group and Relationship Marketing System. Mike Gingerich, the president of Digital Hill, co-founder of the popular app Tab site and the podcast, the Halftime Mike podcast. We're here to bring you actionable items so you can help to become a magnet with your marketing versus being a bullhorn. In today's topic, we're diving into truth and myths on SEO in 2016. So, Mike, this topic, we've touched points of search engine optimization across other Magnet Marketers episodes, mainly focused on social. The reason why I felt like this one was one that we really wanted to bring up and kind of just talk through is because more and more with the changes that we've talked about that needs to happen with websites in general and being responsive, that search engine optimization keeps coming up, and it's changed so much over the past 3 years, like drastically in the past 3 years. I feel like now there's a lot of myths and misconceptions out there on what it takes to get that all-powerful first page #1 spot in Google. We need to talk through some of the myths that are out there and some truths, though, that still hold water, that we can incorporate to get search engine optimization results.
Yep. Right. Absolutely. Yes. I mean, do you want to start with the myths that are being perpetuated out there?
Let's do it, because there's a few that really bug me. So go ahead. What's the first myth that you know of?
Well, I think the one that I still see that's being floated around out there is the submission to local directories, or getting on these directory lists, so that it's basically trying to they want your business to pay them to put you out there on all these lists, and those lists then would increase your ranking because you're listed on lots of them and you're listed on key ones. And so I think that there's a directory building misconception for SEO out there.
This is true. So how about we do it this way, since this is kind of new, myths and truths. Let's talk about the myth and talk about what truth maybe stems from that myth and where that could have came from and what the truth is, though, around that. Because there is some with directory listings like Yext and some of the others, the local directories, where it's important for you to be on them because sometimes their results are showing up #1 and #2 and #3 on Google, where if you do get set up on the directory listings, now you're at least there and the correct information is there. So it helps you to be seen, or your presence to be seen, and you to have more of a stamp on what it looks like and what's displayed there. Not a lot, but you have a little bit. Either you pay this company. Manta is one of them that comes to mind. You can pay Manta to be featured there, but they're still featuring your competitors and other people that are in that space on that listing. And there may or may not be ads that are displaying across that top as well on those sites. So that could be where some of the myth is stemming from. However, it's still a myth. It's not going to affect your website page directly by you just subscribing to all these sites, but it will have your presence show up and you be able to customize a little bit more with you having these directory listings kind of filled in.
Yep. So there's also, there's the myth that somehow it improves your ranking, so it doesn't impact your ranking.
Yep.
And then there's also the fact that a lot of the bulk ones, you're not helping yourself just because of the sheer number of those. Okay, it's not a volume game. If you can get listed in 5,000 directories, that's going to help you, kind of thing. But the truth, then, as you said, is that if you can, you need to be listed in some of the most important ones, and like you said, Yext is giving you that opportunity. Moz Local, some one of those that take a look at that. So your Google Places page and some of those things with a Yelp listing, those types of things where the retail establishments can be important places to be listed.
Right. It it kind of goes along with the myth, and this kind of ties off of it, that SEO is kind of all tricks that you can just set up, because if it was a numbers game, then it means like you could just set up all over it and just put your domain name on there and kind of trick it to all go back to your site, and then say that your site's an authority, because the truth is that SEO does rank on authority and relevancy on website pages. Not websites, but your page. Each page has its own ranking, not the whole website. The website does get combined kind of as a result.
Collectively.
But it's each website page is an opportunity to rank. So each page should be taken into consideration. But the directory links, it's not, there's no saying that you can just register on all of them, and now because they're linking to one page on your website that you're magically going to show up. It's more just a number one for all these different keywords. It still is a keyword that they're specifically searching for, most likely a long tail keyword, and the directory listings don't always provide the most accurate for the long tail keywords anyway.
Right.
It's more like doctor's offices in Lima, Ohio, or chiropractors in Indiana. And then it's going to give you the directory listings potentially for that. But based on authority and relevancy, that's when the hierarchy of websites on the first page of Google go in after that.
Yep.
So myth number 2 for me then would be that content does not matter, that it's just what's on the back end, that basically you only need to have your meta description, your alt text, your anchor text, your H1, H2 headers, and your clean domains, then you're going to rank on Google magically, because you have all these things and you can just build out mass pages, 400 pages, dense website content that all just has all this keyword stuff back end, and you're magically going to show up in the back of Google.
That's
definitely a myth.
That's just old school. And I would say that in, probably between 2000, 2005, that had some bearing, that had some, impact that way. But it's the myth that is still relevant today. And, so that was all about, again, you mentioned it in the first one, but that was all about, if we can just find the keys behind the scenes to solve the riddle, then we're good to go and nothing else matters. And so we're going to game that system. Okay. And search engines are totally against, gaming that system, and they've just gotten so much better. I mean, you got to take Google because they're number one. I mean, what are they? 69% market share of search, plus or minus a couple percentage points each month kind of thing. So they're the number one player. And when you go through what their team outlines, and they say it again, we're trying to give people the best, most relevant, accurate results when they type in a search query. And so they're totally against gaming it. They're looking for that accuracy, that human accuracy, as if someone is going there and reading this and saying, of those, that one is the best, has the most detailed information. It's the best answer to that search query. So let's put that one up number one. That's their whole thing they're trying to do with their algorithm, and return those most relevant results, which comes back to what you said. Content matters big time on your site.
Yes. And here's a stat that proves that too.
Yeah.
If a post is greater than 1,500 words on average, it will receive 68.1% more tweets and Facebook shares and be found more often. And this is just talking about website content and social, in search, but it's more often going to be found online. Content matters, and not just the content on your main pages, your who we are, services we provide, contact us, all of that, but also on your blog content. The average content, there's another one here, and I love this, these stats here, but they say the average content length for a website page that ranks in the top 10 results for any keyword on Google has at least 2,000 words, at least 2,000 words incorporated into their website on a specific topic or, thought leadership, if you will, or for that long tail keyword. Now, where this can come into play with adding multiple pages of content is where you have blog articles that are also on your website that are supporting website pages. Like we said, it still searches website specific pages, not your whole website, but that are reinforcing a message that's on another page on your website. So linking back and diving deeper into a specific topic matter, and you tell the search engines to follow that link, that all of these are connected as one. But content is definitely king in search engine rankings. It's definitely king.
And I got to say, so I did a workshop this morning on social media, and my third slide in was that, the most important thing you can do in social media is have great content on your website. So I said that's the number one starting point.
There you go. You knew.
Being successful in social media, and we could stop right here. You come and you expect to hear something grand on Facebook and Twitter, but I'm telling you, your home base is your website, and what you're doing with that content matters. And I was talking about from the standpoint of that gives you something of value to share online. On social, and then when social comes back to your site, you have something there to educate them further. But again, that's the point, and that's the myth is that I can build a website and I'm done. But the fact is that that's your most important online real estate for search engine optimization. Regular, deep, rich content is needed.
This is true. Yes,
that was a mini rant.
Absolutely. No, but it's so true, because you figure, we work with clients and we tell them, okay, look, if we're not going to work with you on updating your content, you need to have someone developing this content for you, because long gone are the days of the brochure-based content that it just reads like a brochure and that it's just very stale. It needs to be conversational. It needs to be interesting, because people search how they talk, if you will, not searching like a brochure anymore. Think of Siri and how you talk into your phone and what you're trying to find. It's all based around how we're holding conversations and what we're calling things. So your website should be a representation of that when you're writing content. So when you're planning out your website, content is the number one thing to do if you're wanting to rank on search engine results. So definitely myth and truth. Myth is content doesn't matter. Truth, we hope we've convinced you, because you can tell we're passionate about that. Content is the number one thing that does matter. You will never rank on search engines if you have good content or you want to buy every click.
Yep.
Earn it or pay for it. Choice is yours.
There you go.
Okay. Next myth. You're on deck for the myth.
All right. Okay, so let's see that we've covered those two. You've covered the alt tags as well. I was going to go into that. I think that I'd like to push that one out a little further. Maybe the myth is that you need lots of meta tags and metadata per page on your website. All right. So I think that I'll push that one out and say we need to sharpen that a little bit more. I think gone are the days when it's just about meta tags. Okay. So meta tags have just become irrelevant because people were just slamming those in, and Google identified, other search engines identified that. That doesn't necessarily mean you had good content. Okay. A meta description, which is kind of like your sentence listing, is still valuable, not necessarily from helping you be indexed higher, but I think it's a differentiator, and I'm kind of from the Marcus Sheridan school of thought on this, that it's a differentiator when your search is found. Because if you're coming up in the top 5 and maybe you're third in that, but you have a great meta description and you are asking a question, you're inviting someone to come over, your that can be the differentiator that separates you, because they're looking at those top 5 results. And so a meta description can be that next piece of differentiation that prompts someone to follow through to your link.
Yes. And that's like what I call good SEO hygiene.
Okay.
You need to make sure that it's clean and that it looks good, because that is what's going to show up, and that does matter. And there's some tricks to help clean it up if you're not sure how to do your meta description, or how it's going to read, to give you kind of the sneak peek preview if you're on WordPress. I know we've talked about this one before. Yoast, SEO Yoast, it helps you write some of those meta descriptions and can put that in there to make it easier. And to show, your page title. So good SEO hygiene is definitely the page title, your H1, H2, meaning your main header, your secondary header, the meta description, like you had mentioned, and the images, having descriptions on the images as well. All of that goes into impacting your score. It's not the number one thing, because we mentioned you can't cram everything back in the back end anymore. Penguin and Panda updates on Google nix that. There's no more bogus linking.
Yep.
Some SEO spam company, $100, and they drive 10,000 links to your website. It doesn't work anymore.
Right. Yep. The old backlinking thing.
My SEO myth then is that social media does not play a key into your search engine results. This is a definite myth. And here is actually a study that was done and shows a post that was done, and how just the social media content, social shares, social impressions, and contents linked back actually, and it was an article that was done by SEO Moz, I should say. And they show the impact that social media has directly on your search engine rankings. Your social shares, your social impressions, linking back to the content source and the mentions show how it impacts your your SEO at the end of the day. Because again, it goes back to relevancy, and it goes back to authority on a topic. Synergy, I like that word that you just used, synergy. Yes, definite SEO synergy there. And it's bringing it all together, and it impacts your search engine results.
Absolutely. Okay. Let's see. I just had one. Now you got me off topic there a little bit, so I was trying to
Sorry.
recall what I was going to say there. But
I do that, Mike. I'm a little ADHD. Sometimes I just
No, you were point on, but I got so into your point that I checked out on my next one that I had, and I didn't have my note written down there on that piece. So if I'm taking I think here it is. Yes, keyword stuffing is imperative to improve your per page rank. Okay.
Yes.
So in the past, what people would do is try to mention the keyword phrase enormous amount of times in a post, and you would often see little things down in footers of websites, which were the phrases repeated in different ways, that type of thing, as a way to try to game the system once again. So it was a keyword phrase stuffing, and so that's a myth that doesn't work. You don't want to just to overly repeat it. And why is that? It's because the Google algorithms have gotten so intelligent at reading content as humans do, that they can tell what is relevant and what is stuffing. And so you can use tools that SEO Yoast, again, those types of things, which helps you evaluate your keyword density and what is a natural rhythm of that. So yes, you do want to have your keyword phrase. Be aware of that. It's probably going to want to be in the title, of your article. It's great to have that in an H1. It's great to have something that reinforces that in an H2. It's great to have that in the first paragraph, but you cannot have it 5 times per paragraph and 8 times at the summary. To do that, there's going to be ramifications for that. That's seen as a keyword stuffing. They're actually on the lookout for those types of schemes, and that can actually ding you and do the opposite of what you're hoping for.
That's a good point, because there's also those sites that are just exact duplicates of the website, right? And they just put like another link on it. It'd be like SEOlima.com, SEOohio.com, SEOmichigan.com, but it's the exact same clone of what was on these other ones, except for they changed the ending state. That is not going to help you rank more in the search engines. It's only going to confuse them and think that there's duplicate content out there. Google is smarter than that, and search engines are smarter than that. It's not going to help your content boost it up. Hello, Sir John.
Speaking of duplicate content, do you want to go into that one a little bit? I mean, I think do you want to put that out as a myth? I think that, there's a myth that if someone else's content is working great, I can just take that and use that.
Yes, and you can see who the original source was. There's Copyscape, there's Google. You can see the original source of content, who was first to publish content on the web. And if somebody reports you or finds their content that you've taken from their site, and they're happy that you found it so useful and that you admired the content so much, but it is not like what they say, the biggest form of it's not the biggest form of flattery at all. It is illegal, and it is not a good practice, and it's not going to help your search engine results. You can actually get in trouble for doing that, similar to if you were to upload music that is you do not have the copyright to, or royalty free. If you say YouTube will make you take it down, Google can actually stop links to your website specifically for that piece of content, because it is owned by someone else. They own that content. So you cannot use their images without purchasing it. You cannot use the content without permission. You cannot do any of that. It's going to have a negative impact to your score, not a positive one. Yeah. Anything else you want to add to that piece?
No, I think that you've covered it well.
Thank you. Another one, though, is that the site maps that you need, that Google, you don't need to submit site maps. But then also on the flip side, that site maps do increase your search engine optimization. That goes back to, that's a myth. It is good SEO hygiene, but it does not directly link and help you rank more on the search engines if you submit in the Google sitemap to like Webmaster's Tools or anything like that. What it allows you to do is have good SEO hygiene, like I said, and allows Webmaster's Tools to easily crawl your site a little faster, and for you to see if there's been any crawl errors, and monitor if there's any other content that's out there or anything that's happened on your site. So it is a good SEO practice, but it's not something that's going to directly impact your search engine results.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay, so I don't know if this is a myth. Maybe I'll flip over to the truth side and to say that it can be important to have a combination approach to your search engine optimization for your keyword phrases by doing multiple different types. So you should have great rich content on your website, but you may also want to create a YouTube video with the video text and description optimized for that keyword phrase as well, because that YouTube video could rank well also. So there's power in such as YouTube video and some of the optimization pieces you can do there. Of course, Google owns YouTube, and that's one of their tools. But there is value. I always like to think of how can you crowdsource your most important keyword. So you want to take up as much real estate on that homepage as possible, and you can do some of that with your content. But there are also some other tools, such as I've had YouTube videos that have ranked well, and I've also had Google Plus posts that have ranked well. So there's some truth in that. How about that? You want to add on to that one, or give some thoughts?
No, that's definitely truth, and that goes back to social media boosting your content, because it's giving more of an authority, and you're delivering it in kind of another way. So I would say that's definitely some truth in that. I don't know that it's been. I think the only myth is that it doesn't work. I've heard. So I don't I don't know that there's any other real myths to it, but that is definitely a truth. But that I've heard even before that the content that you put on, even like co-authored blogs, though, that like if you're repurposing content and putting it there, that can hurt your online presence. And that kind of is treated almost as like a social media site and such as well, depending on how it's listing out. But the only thing you need to be wary of is that the co-author blog site, depending on who it is, let's say it's like a Social Media Examiner or something, because Mike, I know you write for that, and you have the same piece of content that's on Social Media Examiner is what you have on your website. Chances are Social Media Examiner's article is going to show up before yours because of their authority and the traffic to their site, and the other the things that they're being registered for is all relevant to usually the people that are searching it. So they're going to probably show up more often on a larger scale. However, for a local company, because local does come into play, if they're searching in your hometown for something specific and they use a keyword, and that site that you or page that you wrote about and then linked back maybe to your website, you'd have more of a chance showing up in your home territory as one of the top links there for local.
Yep.
Another SEO myth is that you can pay a company $100 and they can submit your site. We kind of touched on this a little bit. I just definitely want to drill this point home that you can pay a company to register your site on all of these other sites and drive traffic right back to your website. And it's a one-time deal. You pay them $100 and they will drive you magically to the first page of Google using what we like to call black hat tactics. And that is a definite myth. They may be able to get you to the first page of Google for a very short time. And then you may never be back on the first page of Google for a very long time. It is definitely signs of a bad SEO company. I just put a link here that you cannot, pay someone that's going to make basically this is called black hat or bad SEO tactics to register you on all these sites and put links back to your website. It is there's no magic to SEO. There's no quick fix button, if you will. And if they are promising this, then beware, buyer beware, run away.
Yep. Yep. Let's see. I would say that another myth that I kind of run into at different times is, should I have multiple domains that are of the keyword, but typically single page websites because they will rank well because of the domain name itself? Okay. Do you ever run into that one?
Yes, all the time.
Yeah. So, the fact there is that there are so many other factors beyond just what that domain name is. And again, they're going to scan the content and going to check, what the site's about and is it relevant to search queries. So again, they're trying to return the most relevant results. And just because your domain name matches a keyword phrase does not mean that you are providing an answer or value. And so being worthy of ranking.
Mm-hmm. That is true. Like I said earlier, with the content of the pages, even though it's an individual page that's ranked itself, it needs to have multiple, words on it, and still that's just relevancy for that page. But then the authority piece is other pages within it that needs to link to it as well.
Yep.
And usually a local company is going to come up within some of the top 3 organic search results. At least the map will for someone, depending on how they have kind of their search settings set up. And that's where usually people go, is the top 3 search engine results. So if you're trying to rank for local SEO, I would definitely make sure that you're writing content specifically around maybe that area on your blog and make it unique content, and even try tagging in like maybe all the local service providers, like you used the example of Marcus Sheridan approach, but he went as far as to putting out like, here's everyone that offers this specific service in our area, and listed them all out, because now he's going to have more of a chance to show up locally in that market because he's listed out all the the competitors and everyone else. And it's giving him more of an authority, mentioning all their names and his right on that page.
Yep. Side story though, I had a client that really did not like that approach. They just could not get past the fact that we were listing the competition on their site, and they just did not want that and could not allow that. So I couldn't get that point and the value of that of being the sole source. Anybody searching for any of those terms can come here across to them.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. There's a lot of clients that have had the same kind of reaction to listing them. They're like, why would we dare mention them? In our eyes, they don't exist, or we don't want clients to know they exist. But it's good to explain the differences. I've seen even a lot of HubSpot partners actually here recently doing this and mentioning like what all of us do well. Literally, like not like we do all these great things well. By the way, there's some other guys out here, but they literally listed like everything that each partner does and what their specialties are with no bias. It was kind of cool to start seeing that even more and more, even in the marketing space. But it's becoming more and more of a common practice. And you notice that they're showing up now. When I Google my name, like I'm seeing all of my content, yes, but the third, fourth page, they're starting to creep up there, so. Yep. Definitely works.
All right.
For sure. Another SEO myth that you can just put in just keywords and just dump a bunch of keywords in and attach that to your content in the back end, and now you're magically going to show up for all those keywords. No.
Right.
The truth is you should focus on long tail keywords that are focused specifically around how your client or your target audience would say something. So again, if we were talking about maybe a chiropractor, I'm just going to use them as an example. Instead of focusing on chiropractor as your keyword, or backaches or headaches or migraines, maybe focus on something a little bit longer. So how to cure migraines by limiting toxicity. I'm using this as a direct example. We are focusing on, or could caffeine be causing your headaches? Could, toxic whatever be causing your headaches? And focus on those long tail keyword streams that then are going to help you rank more often, because then you're training people to, if they're already searching that way, or that's coming up in Google AdWords as you see what people are searching, focusing on the long tail keywords, the ones that are have the difficulty score of under 50 are a little bit easier to rank for.
Yep. Okay. Do you have another point, or do you want to dive into some questions then?
No, we can dive into some questions. Man, that half hour went fast. I just looked up. I'm like, oh, is it time for question?
Wow. Zoom.
Okay.
Yep.
Question.
All right.
Looks like there's one. Go ahead, read it if you'd like.
Yeah, we got that question from Clay, and Clay is asking about Google reviews and telling locals to get as many Google reviews as possible, and keyword-rich blog versus paying an SEO person. Yes, we definitely talked about keyword-rich blog. Jessica, any thoughts on Google reviews for local search rank?
Yeah, I definitely think that they do help you show up more often, from the sense that you're adding more and more relevancy to who you are, and that now it's showing up more often, and that people are actually searching for Google Maps. So it's going to help you stand out, if nothing else, too, when they're searching for who to use and they see all of these reviews on someone. You're going to have more of a relevancy and authority. Plus, it's going to help you stand out in the eyes of the consumer that is looking for whatever service that you're providing, because now you have those reviews on there.
Yep.
So I think somebody doesn't even register their, handle.
Yeah. So always encouraging people, if you are local, to get your places page verified. You want to make sure those details are all in place. I love here what's mentioned: stay on mission with posts, but be human. And I think that's a key, because search engines, again, Google is trying to emulate the human experience. And so they're trying to give the most relevant human results for your query. And they've gotten just a ton better at that. And so, yes, I think that write human, don't write for search engines, write for the people that are going to read it, but take into consideration, be on on purpose, on target with some of the keys, so that some of those keys included, is your keyword phrase in your title? Is it in an H1? Is it in your, first paragraph? So those is your H2, your secondary bullet points, are those, supporting your overall keyword phrase. I mean, those are some of the basics, but within that, then you're trying to write for humans. And, writing for humans on the web actually means having things using a number of H2s along the way, because people need their content broken up because they're skimming top to bottom. They're going quick. And so they need to be able to get the gist, and you can do that in those keyword points.
Yeah, and writing for humans also means breaking your content up, like you said. I mean, that's the honest to God true way to get to the top of search, is to write most specifically and in depth for your audience that's looking to find answers. That's literally the trick there. It's just earning your spot there by providing really good, relevant content and breaking it up. Like you had mentioned, you wouldn't throw everything all in just one conversation. If you're talking to someone, you're going to split it up and break it in so it's easy to digest, content that's also going to help you rank more. I was trying to read the tail end of this question, though, that was asked earlier, and it was talking about, though, paying a company. Where I'm trying to find this question again.
Versus paying a company, I think.
Versus paying a SEO person. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah. I was reading it the first time as you're paying someone to get those reviews for you. I gotcha. Never mind. Versus paying a company. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you should always, if you're paying someone, they should be doing things like looking at your search engine optimization hygiene, making sure that it's always good. And they should be coming up with content that you need to write for and helping you write that content as a search engine optimization consultant. If they're doing that for you, they need to be reviewing what's working and giving you feedback to what's not. And if there needs to be something that needs to be, shifted around and checking that out. Okay, so another question. What are your thoughts on someone that doesn't want to write but has no problem producing videos? The reason I ask this is because in reality, people need to do
what they will do consistently. So that's maybe their best in the wheelhouse in the video regard. Yeah. I guess my take is that, have them get those videos out there and make sure that those are uploaded to YouTube and that type of thing. I would also say they should maybe consider having someone do some transcription of those videos and get that content in a text format. That's going to give them the overall best scenario. So text still does matter, and that's my answer there.
That's what we do here. Honestly, we take the recording when this is done, and we have an in-house writer here that takes the Blab article when we're done, or Blab, I should say, video when we're done, and takes it and turns it into a blog article. That when we have enough of those together that are all related to a topic, then we turn it into an ebook. But then we also have the video out there because, let's be honest, YouTube is the number 2 most used search engine in the world. So you are operating on YouTube search by having your videos there. So I think it's a definite win to have the videos there, but also having that content that lives within your home base that can be searched easily by the search engines is definitely imperative as well. So the transcription is a great idea, Mike.
Yep.
Keep on.
Okay. Another little story and example, but you already mentioned it, but people like to talk about search has become, people put in longer search queries now, search phrases. And just like you said, that maybe they're using Siri or whatever in their phone, but they're asking more complete questions, even if they're typing them in, or, they're doing the voice to text type thing. So that they're longer keyword phrases. And, I had an example of this, and I think I'm still ranking pretty high for this. And that is, one of the things that came out, say, 2 years ago. I think I wrote this post in 2013, that people wanted to know, how do I get all notifications from a Facebook page? They didn't want to miss notifications when somebody was doing something, interacting on their Facebook page. That was an important deal, that time period. They didn't want to miss anything. So how do I get that notification on Facebook? And so I basically wrote a post that was the title of it, how to get all Facebook page notifications. So that's that long tail that I think, let's see, like a term. Let's see if I have that one. How to get all Facebook page notifications. So if you like search for that, in Google, my post is still typically in the top 5, top 4, top 3 sometimes, and it was relevant then. So I'm not saying that's you don't need that today. There's a lot of tools out there that give you Facebook page notifications, but I basically addressed that specific question, and that was my title, my starting point, and then I answered that in the copy of the Facebook page post, and that was one of my highest ranking, longest, biggest traffic drivers to my website.
No, that's cool, because what did you do? You based it around the user, and you're just writing to the person that's searching. You're writing for the human. Like if you wanted to make it easy, salesy, it'd be like, the Facebook secrets revealed, or whatever, to try to drive all this traffic, thinking you're going to get more traffic by doing these buzzy titles. When all reality, you just need to just be crystal clear on what you are providing in your article and in your title, and people are going to click on it. It's going to show up more often, and you're going to get more out of it. Those kinds of topics on just doing reviews too. We've done several reviews on just like apps and things, and it's literally like, Todoist versus Slack, those kinds of articles. Those are what people are searching. They're searching those kinds of things that are making it more and more human way of finding answers. And it makes it easier that way. One other one before we go, but I just want to touch on it. Responsive design doesn't matter. Responsive design. My site is mobile ready, or I have a mobile app, so I don't need responsive design. That is a definite myth. You do need responsive design. You do need responsive design because it is all based around the user's experience, and Google wants to make sure that everyone has an optimal user experience on their site and on their search, and that is included with responsive design.
Yes. Yeah. And again, I mean, those, what was it? Google in, was it April of last year, and Bing 21st. In June of last year, where they changed, rolled out changes to their algorithm, which, impacted search results based on whether a site was mobile responsive, mobile friendly or not. And so that's just a critical piece. So if you're going to start today, what you need, and if we're going to sum this up, and so that was point number 1, is that you need a mobile responsive site. If you're going to start well, SEO strong this year, and we're going to wrap this up. Jessica, that's number 1. What do you say is number 2?
I would say just keep going with it. Definitely keep updating it all the time, ongoing. Just adding content to your site and making sure that you're using good search engine hygiene on all the things we talked about.
Okay, so I would say that as well. That's your content. You need to get your content out there. And again, relevant content, like you were talking about, is longer content. It's not about a 200-word post and a video. Okay, so that's why the transcribing can help. That video and 1,000 words that's relevant to that is going to be a lot better type of post. Okay. Right. And I would just add to your content that be sharp on the basics. Then be sharp with your title and your heading, your first paragraph, and then your H2. Those key points along the way, breaking your content up into key sections that have relevant subtitles. That's important, just in good, clean. Hygiene, so to speak, for a blog post.
Yes, and then last, just adding in your social media elements.
Yes, so social shares. Yep, social is important. Social is included.
All right. Well, any other questions as we wrap up? Are you getting an echo on your side?
You're okay from my standpoint.
Okay, I'm hearing myself back. Okay, yes, another echo. I'll try to talk quiet so it's not as bad. All right, so if there's no other questions, what we'll do is we're going to, like we said, we will take this, transcribe it, put it up as a blog article, and post it in the notes here, and you'll also be able to find it at nowmarketinggroup.com and on the YouTube channel. But join us again next week, right here on Blab, same time, 4 o'clock. And we're going to be diving into specific, you're on the ball. We're going to be diving into social media specifics, starting with Facebook and its best practices and how you can edge up with your Facebook to become a magnet versus being a bullhorn. We're going to start bringing in some industry experts on each platform and have them share their secrets on how they became well-known in this space and some of the secrets that they're using to really edge up that platform. So we're going to start on Facebook and then dive through Twitter. And yes, Twitter is next. It's like you're right here. You're reading my mind here in the comments. We're going into Twitter and then, of course, onto the other social platforms as well.
That's Chris. He's reading your mind while he's washing his wands, or I mean his hands there. So he's got that good blog post hygiene going on. So thanks for being with us, Chris. You've been loyal. We appreciate that. Clay as well. Thanks for coming in today, Mary and Terrence. You know, the crew out there. Appreciate all of you guys. Laura for being here with us as well.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. I hope you have a good rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you back next week on Magnet Marketers. See you, Mike.
Take care. See ya.